How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen Automotive, which was down 1.41% on the Friday. So ended up posting a red day. We've been seeing a lot of strength in these markets. Mullen hasn't been following along, but I want to make sure you guys are updated as far as for Tuesday, since the market is closed today. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Mullen. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at 96 cents, being down 1.41%. On the low, it tested 95 cents, and then on the high, testing $1.03. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 37.356 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 41.715 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and we also seen a pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 37.25. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So since we are trading below all of our major moving averages, it is clear to see that Mullen is in a bear market. And if you remember what I said in my previous video where I was saying that this stock could pull back further into the mid-90s, and that's exactly what happened. So we ended up testing a low right around 95 cents. So knowing this, going into tomorrow or Tuesday, we could have some further weakness in Mullen. And if we do decide to have more weakness, we could start seeing 92 or 91 cents as far as for the low. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. And like I mentioned, we want to see a double bottom reversal if it pulls back to around 76 or 77 cents. This is where we are expecting bulls to want to come in. So at these current levels, it's no problem whatsoever if you're going to be patient. We need to have price action above that 21-day EMA for Mullen to actually start looking somewhat bullish, which is around $1.15. We saw at the high today at $1.03 on the Friday. So again, a lot of buying's gonna have to come into this play to get it to that level. And then we do know we have the 50-day, which is right here around 181. We've been talking about this level since it was around 189. And since the stock is continuing to be on a downtrend, this is why this number continues to get lower. So overall, what we want to see from Mullen, we want to have that pullback going down into the mid 70s, having those bulls step in and see if we can run the price back up to the $1 level. At these current prices, if you're thinking about taking an entry and so forth, I would be setting up a stop loss at least at around 90 to 91 cents and then seeing what the play could do from there. Again, this is just if you want to jump in at the current levels, which I would not recommend. Might as well just be patient or wait for another play to come in, because so far it looks like it's just consolidating, but we're not seeing consolidation with strength here. So let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information from Mullen. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings we have here for the 26th, we have JET, Total Stock Market Index Fund Trust, that purchased 108 shares. And as far as for the other filings that we have for the 26th, we can see institutions reducing their position. So this includes EQ Advisors Trust. We also do see iShares Microcap ETF, and as well as for the Extended Market Index Fund as well. And we can see respectively being at negative 60%, negative 61%, and negative 52.94%. So again, they are reducing their positions. So now when we take a look at the short interest, the off exchange short volume ratio is at 27.06%, and then for the off exchange short volume, it is just over 6.62 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 1 million, updated 11 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate is at 3.83%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 26th, it was at 29.27. And then for the close of the 27th, being at 27.06. So it did go down a bit. And then taking a look at the short interest percentage of the float, being at 11.62%. Unfortunately, Mullen doesn't have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution.
Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Mullen. So we can see here on the inflow, it was at 8.40 million, and then on the outflow, it was at 10.89 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 1.21 million. On the medium, it was 5.77 million. And then on the small, it was 1.42 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 3.09 million. On the medium, it was 6.27 million. And then on the small, it was 1.53 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see from May the 27th, we had that outflow of negative 1.88. And we also had an outflow day on the 26th of 1.24. Analyzing numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 11.24%. No surprises that it's high because we know that Mullen is a volatile stock. It's also been dealing with a good amount of selling pressure, but it's not going down quickly. It's moving very slow. So that's part of the reasons why there's still some demand in the market for this play, because I feel if there wasn't, it would have tanked further. So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts on Mullen Automotive when it comes to the price action, so we ended up seeing a high at $1.03 and we ended up testing a low of 95 cents. If you guys remember what I said in my previous video as well, it would be testing in the mid to low 90s. I was discussing this extensively, and part of the reasons behind this is the stock is in a downtrend. For the past 2 trading days, it's had lower highs and as well as lower lows. But one thing we have to understand though, it is still consolidating and there still seems to be some demand in the market for Mullen shares, because if there wasn't, it would have pulled back even further. Of course, it could take some time to do that, but you guys know the levels you need to look out for though. Remember what I was saying, on the previous run up that we had, it got down to around 76 cents. So we're looking for a double bottom reversal. So what does that mean? We want to see the stock price get back into the 70-cent range, but there is a possibility where it could pick up some steam, especially since it tested support at 95. So don't be shocked if you see that continuing to hold, and maybe potentially it could form a higher low and reverse the pattern. But if it doesn't, look out for this play around the 80-cent range. It could actually bounce from there, but if it bounces off 75 between 76, it's just repeating history, and then we can see if we can run the stock back up to $1. If you're thinking about taking a position right now, just make sure you're using the right risk management, you're doing your research, you're doing your due diligence. This is very important, all right? Also, we went on Fintel taking a look at the recent institutional ownership. We can see that there are value changes in regards to institutions reducing their positions. We did notice this as well before in the past, and it's just a continuation of that as more filings are coming out. And then taking a look at the short interest information, it still remains to be the same that, Mullen doesn't have short squeeze potential whatsoever. The criteria that we normally look for the short interest percentage of the float is at 14% or higher. And since it's below that, this play, what it needs is a strong catalyst that will give confidence for investors wanting to buy up the play, and also getting traders involved to have some more price action to the upside. And like I was saying inside of the technicals, the 21-day EMA is around $1.16, $1.15, depends on how you want to round those numbers up. So if it's able to have some price action and come to that level, that's where things could get interesting, because we also have the 50-day moving average, which is around $1.81. So again, I would not be bullish on this play until it's able to at least reach the 21-day EMA and bulls showing support there. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs as we go into Tuesday. We'll be talking real soon.